You look good, why not? What do you know about Chazak Baruch Rabbi? Something interesting. Oh, wow.
That's why you don't say Tachan.
Oh, yes. God bless you. I thought it was a Brit Milah. Okay. Anyway, I want to tell you something interesting. There are several places in the Talmud that it says in the name of Shmuel. Shmuel was an Amorah, one of the Amoraim, right? So, interesting. We'll give you a little background about Shmuel, who he was, right? So he was in the same generation as Rav. So they had lots of machloket together, Rav and Shmuel. Always machloket between them. And halakha, not in personal matters. In personal matters, they were good friends. Just like me and Rabbi Aaron. Right? We don't personal matters, we have no problems.
Yeah, אפילו in הלכה we are.
You know? So they were very good friends. But when it comes to halakha, they were always arguing one with the other. You know, machloket l'shem shamayim, atid yitkayem. Always machloket, which is l'shem shamayim, it's meant to stand forever. You know, that's what it says in Pirkei Avot. Right, so that's the way it is. Until this day, we're learning the machloket between Rav and Shmuel. So Shmuel was an interesting character, by the way. Why? Because Shmuel was a doctor, you know, a kimid, one of the best doctors of a generation. Shmuel was also a big astronomer. He knew astronomy very, very well. The stars, the motion of the stars, the planets. He was a big expert in this. You know, so he was a big man, Adam Gadol. One thing he was lacking, though, you know what it was, right? That he didn't have smicha, he didn't have ordination to be dayan. Right? So what happened was that the truth is that he was very big expert in laws of dayanut, of choshen mishpat, of mamonot. So why didn't he ever become a dayan? He never got smicha, he never got ordained to be dayan. Something very interesting, you know. So the truth is, it says in the Talmud something interesting about this. It says that Rav was always looking to give smicha to Shmuel to be dayan. Because Rav was a Gedol Ador. He was the big rabbi of the generation, you know, big chacham. So he wanted to give Shmuel smicha to let him to be dayan. And every time he would try to do it, something would get messed up, you know. It didn't work always, you know. Every time they tried, doesn't go. Something goes wrong, you know. The catering didn't come, you know. What do you call it? Right? The car service didn't bring him. I don't know. So every time something goes wrong, boom. So you know, in the end, Rav, you know, he started to realize maybe something is wrong over here, you know. Why every time we try to make him dayan, to give him smicha to be dayan, it doesn't go. You know, the ceremony can't be conducted. You know, so what happened was that they looked in the mazal, you know, mazalot, you know, a little bit, you know, mazalot shaychenim. You know? So what did they see over there? They saw that Shmuel doesn't have mazal to be dayan. That was it, you know. He didn't have mazal for this. So what did it say about Shmuel? It said he's destined to be chacham, but not dayan. Can you imagine such like that? So it all has to do with mazal, you know. That's what it is, right? Sometimes the person, he's a big chacham, he knows everything, but doesn't have mazal to be dayan. You know, for some reason or another. Another interesting thing about Shmuel is like this, right? That they say that when there's machloket between Rav and Shmuel, kamati tuarim, you know. So in dinei mamonot, the halacha is like Shmuel, laws of money, monetary law. When it comes to isurim, the halacha is like Rav. So it's interesting, right? That Shmuel, halacha is like him when it comes to dinei mamonot, but at the same time he wasn't a dayan. Yeah, what do you say, Rabbi?
No, Isurim explains the Jamaat is kasher, tareh.
Right, Isurim, right? Kashrut, you know, this kind of thing, right? Laws, these are called ritual laws, right? That's what we call them in English. Very nice name they made, Rabbi. Ritual laws. Right? They have nice names for everything today. So look at this translations, article, you see over there, all these nice names. So ritual law, right? That's what it is. So it's interesting, right? On one hand, halacha is like Shmuel. On the other hand, he's not dayan. Okay, whatever. You know, very interesting thing. So one of the things that Shmuel said is considered to be one of the biggest concepts in the Torah, one of the biggest fundamental concepts of the Torah. That everybody knows this. Anybody who learned in yeshiva, he knows about this. You know. So what does it say over there? It says dinei malchut dinah. Right? What does that mean? That when you have a law of the land, the law of the country that you live in, that becomes din also for the Torah. That's what Shmuel said. Many places in the Talmud you find this. So, you know, okay, this sounds very nice, you know, very catchy, you know, very catchy phrase there. But the question is, if you really think about it a little bit, you know, take 5 minutes to think about this for a second. What does this mean? You know what I mean? So, if you look at the simple explanation, you might think what it means? That every time, the government makes a law, we have to follow everything they say. So what does that mean? Let's say the government says, don't put on tefillin, right? Don't eat kosher. Eat shrimp every day. But they tell you, right? You have to follow them? The answer is no, obviously. This is called shmad, right? The people are persecuting us, the kingdoms. This is what happened with Rome, the Roman Empire, and the Greek Empire. They were persecuting us. Don't keep kashrut, don't keep Shabbat, don't keep milah, don't do this, don't do that. We never listened to them. But Shmuel says, Dine Malchut Dine, right? That when you have din of Malchut, it becomes din. Right? So the question is, always, since I was a little guy, young guy in yeshiva, I was always thinking, what does this mean? Dine Malchut Dine. In which case is it called din? When the Malchut, when the kingdom makes a din, when the government makes a din. When do we call that din? When do we call that din? And when do we not call it din? This is the question, So the truth is that Baruch Hashem, we were zoche to find the answer. You know where it is? In Choshen Mishpat, the Shulchan Aruch, right? Beit Yosef over there also. Over there it says that the concept of Dine Malchut Dine, it brings the name of the Rishonim. They talk about this. The Rambam, the Rashba, other Rishonim. What they say is that this only applies in certain cases. So the question is, where's the border? Where do I know how to draw the line? Okay, until Aktan, until here. Okay, that's it. This is the question, right? So it says over there, in the name of the Rishonim, Beit Yosef also brings it down in the Shulchan Aruch, that Dine Malchut Dine, it only applies in cases where if you don't keep the din of the Malchut, of the government, it's going to cause damage to the king, to the president, to the government. It's going to cause them damage. So when would that be causing them damage? Let's say you don't pay your taxes, right? So if you don't pay your taxes, you're causing them damage. So since that's the case, when the government makes a rule, right, to pay taxes, that's called din. You have to follow that din. That's one of the examples. By the way, that's whole discussion, about taxes, when you have to pay and not to pay. We'll discuss that at a different time, But I don't want to get into now the issue of taxes. There's all kinds of opinions about that, and all kinds of nuances. That's a discussion by itself. But regarding the dining, right? So that's one example. Another example would be, if you don't follow a certain law, which is made by the king, it's going to cause damage to his kingdom, to his government. It's going to cause him financial loss, or it's going to cause him all kinds of things. So if you do something like that, you're breaking the din of the malchut. So there this is already asur to do that. Not allowed to do that. Now, what about? Okay, so when it comes to Yisurim, when it comes to ritual law, right? Like we said, right? Rav, right? Ritual law, right? Yisurim, tefillin, kashrut, and the tarat mishpacha. If the government makes a law about these things, we don't listen to them. We tell them, listen, this is our business. This is our religion. Why are you intervening? Why are you interfering with our religion? Like the communists did, Yimach Shema. We know they did, right? They tried to destroy everything. We know very well what that was. We lived in that country. We know. We live in that system. We know very well what that entails. And we don't listen to them. So when it comes to ritual law, when it comes to Yisurim, we don't listen to the government. They have no business over there. Just like, what happened was, right, that Nebuchadnezzar, when he was the king in Babel, he told, right, those three tzaddikim, Mishael, Azariah, and Hananiah, he told them, bow down to the idol. If you don't bow down, I'm going to put you in the oven and burn you. So what they told, what they answered Nebuchadnezzar? He said, excuse us, Melech, your honor the king, excuse us. But when did the Torah give you rights to rule over us as Jews? Only when it comes to monetary issues, collecting taxes, collecting tolls, crossing a bridge, you got to pay dollars, whatever is right. Things like this, you have the right to rule over us, to collect taxes, to give us parking violations, moving violations, things like this. Okay, that you have a right to do. But when it comes to ritual law, what you want us to do avodah zarah? We don't listen to you. You're like nobody. You're like a little rat, little mouse sitting on the floor. We don't care about you. That's what they told him. So that's exactly the whole point. That makes the whole halakha, right? So what is the halakha? The halakha says, whatever causes damage to the king, the government, those laws are law. So you can't break those laws. You have to keep them. Another interesting thing, which this also involves, is like this, right? Let's say I have a dispute with you. I have, two Jews, right? Have a dispute, monetary. They got into business, they got into a partnership, right? And they had a fight. No, you owe me 10,000. No, you owe me 20,000. So they have an argument going on. So now the question is, right, how do they resolve? They can't resolve it by themselves. Are they allowed to go to secular court and resolve it over there? No. Whoever does that is considered to be like in Hidui, Cherem, he's excommunicated from the Jewish people. You take a person, you take another Jew, your fellow Jew, to secular court for monetary issues, you are totally disconnected from the Torah. It's like you don't believe, you batal the Torah Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what it says in the Poskim. So this you're not allowed to do. So what do you got to do? You got to take him to Bet Din. Pick one Bet Din that you like. The one, what are you saying? If the Jew takes you to court, in other words, he summoned you to court. We'll talk about that in a second. I just want to finish this idea. It's a very good question. Remind me to deal with it. Okay, so just want to get this idea, right? So if one Jew has a dispute with a different Jew, you're not allowed to sue him in secular court. What you do is you go to Bet Din, you find the best Bet Din you can find, wherever it is, That's what they say in the Talmud. Find a good Bet Din. Not a Bet Din of Amaratzot, some retired, rabbis, who never learned nothing in their life, the old timers, I'm not talking about people like that. Has to be, he's Baki B'dinim Amonot. He knows, like a Bet Din like that you have to find. With Harif, somebody who's sharp Dayan over there. Like who? Like Rabbi Akiva, and that's what it says in the Talmud, right? Go to Rabbi Akiva, go to Rabbi Meir, people like this, Harifim, sharp people. But if you go to a Bet Din, which is not so expert, they may make a mistake, they may rule the wrong way because they're Ameratzot, they don't know what they're talking about. This is the thing, you gotta be careful. Just like you gotta be careful where you buy your tefillin, and where you buy your mezuzah, because you may buy it in the wrong place. Same thing when it comes to Bet Din. When you go to a Bet Din, make sure you go into a Bet Din which is expert. Not some clowns over there, Letzanim, something like this. Ameratzot. So that's one thing, right? But getting back to what we said, you got to go to the best Bet Din you can find. Okay, fine. So what happens is like this, right? Let's say the Bet Din made a ruling, and now this guy, right, who lost, he doesn't want to listen to the Bet Din. So then the Bet Din will give you permission to take him to secular court sometimes, and to get your money over there. If you can't get it over here, this guy won't listen. Then you got to go to the secular court. So you can get permission sometimes to go to the secular court, but you have to start with the Bet Din. So now the question is like this, right? When Bet Din makes a decision between two Jews, who's right and who's wrong, should they go according to Torah law or according to the civil law that we have? Right? The law of the land is the law. So what do they go like? So here it says the Rashba something amazing, He says that we have to go according to the Torah law. When you have a dispute between two Jews, not secular law. Not secular law. Why is that? Because it says like this, the Rashba says, if you go according to secular law, there's nothing left with the Torah anymore. And you uproot the whole Torah, there's nothing left. What did you leave? So what does that mean? All the Torah is batel? So therefore it says the Rashba, in a case like that, you have to go according to Torah law. But you know what's different a little bit? The difference is like this. What about if a goy has a dispute with a Jew? Let's say, right? So here, the goy comes, right? Now the goy, he doesn't believe in the Torah. He doesn't believe in our laws. He has no business with us. So he'll take you to secular court, right? So you got to show up. You have no choice. You can try to convince him to come to Bet Din, by the way. You can. Maybe he'll come. I don't know. Maybe he won't. Right? 50-50. I don't know. God knows, right? Some goyim, they don't believe in our system. Some goyim, they think we're good. Depends on the goy, right? So but interesting, right? It says the Ramah over there in Shulchan Aruch something interesting. That if the goy comes to your Bet Din to judge with you about a monetary dispute, listen to this now. It says the Ramah, the Dayan, because it's a goy over here, should rule like the civil law, not like the Torah law. Why is that? Because otherwise, right, let's say the goy would get more money when it comes to civil law than he would get according to Torah law. So since the goy agreed to come to Bet Din with us, we have to give him according to civil law. Why? Because he's not a Jew. So therefore for him, the prevalent law is the civil law, is the secular law. So therefore, says the Rama, the Dayan should judge them like the civil law, if that's more of an advantage for the goy. Because that's what he could do that. He could take you to secular court if he wants. You can't stop him, right? What are you going to do? Stop him? You can't. You have to go and show up there. So therefore, the ruler says the Rama that the Dayan should give him extra. If he deserves more according to civil law, give him some more. Give him according to civil law. Why is that? Because the goy has a different system. He's not. So you see, right? Two things, right? That when it comes to between Jew and Jew, we should always try to judge like Torah law. When it comes to Jew and goy, there, if the goy gets more by judging to civil law, they should go like civil law. That's what the Rama says. Something amazing. So what was your question again? I'm sorry. Let's get back to your question. Secular, right. So the thing is like this, right? What you do is you go to that Jew, and you tell him, listen, this is not the right way. Try to convince him. Send Rabbi Aaron, some rabbis with big beards, scare him a little bit, When they see those big beards, they say, oh my God, if I don't listen, or sometimes what the Bet Din does also. Bet Din, they have tricks. What they do is they don't send people with big beards. You know what they do, right? They send people with big muscles, tough-looking guys, scary-looking guys. They send them over there, and they try to manipulate them a little bit, to scare them a little bit. They can't beat them up, this is not our country, we can't just go. But they can scare him a little bit, They can look, oh my God, who is this guy? This guy's probably going to eat me for lunch, So they do things like this sometimes at Bet Din, try to manipulate a little bit. But the truth is that if the Jew won't agree, you have no choice. You have to go to secular court. There's no choice. What can you do? You have to defend yourself. You know what I mean? So in a case like that, there's no choice. First, you got to try to convince him. If not, that's you got to discuss this with the Chacham. Who knows what he's doing to give you advice about these things. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, amen. Rabbi Hanani amen kashomer. Zikr Baruch Hu Zikr Yisrael. Levi Chazibah Ndom Yisrael Shalom Chafes. למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.
Fish.